Good evening and welcome to the Fan Football Show, third Friday in a row. I'm absolutely delighted and I am very, very pleased to welcome back to the show Daniel Carr, who is firmly in Tash territory now after a fresh, clean shave last week. And also picking up his chair once again, a man who has, I would say, an absolute bag full of questions for me tonight is Shane Friel. Very welcome back to the hot seat, Shane.
Evening, man. How are you?
I must say, fairly worried about power and possible blackouts with ever-increasing wind outside, and if it would ever piss off and stop messing with my social calendar, that would be nice as well. But without moving on with anything else this evening, let's begin with this wonderful headline. Our absolutely brilliant and so far thoroughly impressive under-17s have progressed to the last 16 in Doha, and we have our own local Gavin McAteer as well in the squad. Didn't see minutes today, but that doesn't matter. It's a squad effort and all the way to penalties, and an absolute buffoon between the sticks for Canada today. Wasn't enough, and the brilliant Alex Noonan with a couple of saves to put Ireland through. So that's an exciting couple of days yet ahead for the under-17s, boys. Did you just catch any of it? It was on a bit early. Fortunately, a day off for myself. I got to catch a bit of it, and very impressed with the maturity of some of them.
No, I didn't see any of today's game. I seen actually the day that Gavin actually played now, and just I'm not a biased thing either, but very impressed with him on the ball now. Very much what United could do in midfield. A man that takes the ball in the half turn and very calm and so on. So very impressed with him now for the bit that I've seen of him. But to be honest, I haven't seen any of the rest of it. But geez, that's some result for them. That's through to the quarters, is it?
I think that's last 16. But I would suggest Canada's no. That's a pretty strong side, because the North American side of things now, I would put there, you've set up now as, among some of the best. And there were some classy individuals on show for the Canadians. So it's a scalp. It's a scalp for Ireland. Ireland, you've setups have always been legendary as well. So, we're not going to be nice for whomever we face. I got a glance at some of the names that's still knocking about in the tournament. So they will. I'm sure they'll know who they're lined up to play against by now. I haven't just heard yet. But
I think it's Hungary. I think. I could be wrong on that.
Switzerland.
Is it?
So yeah. Portugal won, Mali won, Switzerland won, France won, Mexico beat Argentina Ireland, Brazil won in pens, and Morocco knocked out the United States. I'll tell you something. That's huge. So,
has England not done it? Or are they gone?
England have to play tomorrow. They're playing South Korea tomorrow. So obviously we'll wait for this half of the draw. So I have the draw here in front of me. Just have to scroll down to where I meet Ireland. It's kind of that winner of this plays, winner of that. Switzerland.
I did say that like 5 minutes ago, but anyway.
They will play Switzerland. Appreciate your inside knowledge there, Daniel. Any thoughts on it, Daniel? Did you catch any of it?
No, like I didn't catch it myself out. I was making use of my day off. I didn't get a chance to do much else.
Trimming that tash, hopefully. Moving swiftly on.
The base would be the very, very recent fresh shave.
Moving swiftly on to the seniors, and no shock to me. I've seen enough from Hallgrimsson's team to know if Portugal isn't fully about it and a wee bit foot off the gas, they're liable to get a bit of a shock in Dublin, and that's what we got. Troy Parrott, very, very sharp indeed for his 2 goals, and a good, really, really good rear guard performance. I think nothing was really ever given up clear cut. 1 or 2 decent strikes from range, Vitinha and Neves. Yeah, Ronaldo, a couple of air shots. That's about it. Didn't see much of a threat really from them. Ireland pick up the pieces, and all of a sudden we're back in business.
It's strange actually, because where was this Ireland at the very, very start of the qualifying stages? I mean, had we been like this from the start, we could be already qualified by now. And it's mad to actually think that. Like, we're now going into a last game where we have to win it to get there. But it's just, is it too little too late?
Yeah, well, if they had hung on to the point in Faro, it would have been definitely all to play for. So, absolutely agree with that sentiment. They're big enough, bold enough, and enough talent in there. And I would firmly like to put a lot of respect on the name of Seamus Coleman, who clearly isn't getting a heap of minutes of any sort for Everton these days, but certainly keeps himself in match nick for international break to international break. So truly an Irish great, still going at the minute, and superb again the other night. So huge credit to the, bias aside, fellow Donegal man and arch nemesis for over a decade, Seamus Coleman. Well done, sir. Enough of the patriotism. One more real fun aspect of the other night was this guy and the head loss. Shane, real fall from grace from the hero himself.
His time's up with international football. I think Martinez is a clown anyway. They have a clown of it for a manager, but he needs to look. He still scores odd goals, so it looks good on stat padding and so on. But you need to know when to to step aside. And look, he's made a clown of himself last night, even between the yellow and red card. I didn't see the game last night at all now, but you need to know. It's kind of like as Carragher says, leave football before it leaves you. It's ego's one of the things driving him now, and he needs to move on. And well, look, he's going to play in this World Cup, but with that manager, Portugal would actually have a decent chance of winning that World Cup if they hadn't him managing. He's a clean disaster. I don't know. I've never seen a team or anything he's ever done good at. So he will affect their chance of winning the whole. Him and Ronaldo will affect their chance because they have some serious players. Jesus, they have probably some of the. If you were to put a World 11 before the competition would start, I'm sure they'll have at least have 2 or 3 in it easily. But he'll make a balls the whole thing. Both of them will. The over reliance on trying to get Ronaldo to score, and Martinez himself. But no, Ronaldo needs to forget about it now. But obviously he'll stick it out to that.
Yeah, this big ambition of trying to get to the World Cup is the one, and I would have thought, with grace, step down and leave it to them. That's absolutely what will hold them back. Is that guy sort of being center stage and trying to do the work of a younger man and trying to get the decisive goals. So the snapshots and everything leading up to the red card on the hour, Portugal would have a real serious chance. Would be certainly in the top 5 in the betting, with an amazing 23 they could throw at it. It's just an absolute mad moment, and such an act of outrageous ill discipline, and I can't believe you think you would get away with such a thing in this day and age. There's nothing that escapes the cameras now. I don't know, do they have VAR in Saudi Arabia? As they sort of forgot that it's somewhere lurking in the background. Really head scratching moment by him, and he thoroughly endeared himself to the Dublin crowd last night.
It's actually more head scratching when you think about it. The reason why he's still playing at international level is clearly so he can get to this 1,000 goals. He wants to play as many games as he can. So obviously the international game is going to help that, be it the friendlies, the Nations League, and obviously going into the World Cup. But what he's done last night is going to take him out of 3 games. So he's going to miss the first 2 games of the World Cup if Portugal do in fact qualify for it. So by doing this, he might have actually helped his team because he's not going to be in that squad for the first 2 games.
They only have one more competitive international.
Yes,
right?
because it's the qualifiers, but then it'll carry over into the World Cup then. So that's what they're saying. He could potentially be missing the first 2 games of the World Cup.
Oh, good Lord, that's backfired big time then. Yeah, the next games in the competition are the actual tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe one more game they have to play in the group?
Yeah. So they'll have the one game now on Sunday, probably the same as us. So who is it they're playing? We're playing Hungary.
Well, it's still their team in the group, isn't it?
Yeah. Armenia's not.
Aye, which he'd probably been hoping to get a couple of goals against, so he really has fucked himself there.
He's not available for 2 games. 66% of the group. Well, he'd be as well set it out. He'd be as well set it out.
Because look, we clearly know he wants to go to that World Cup. he's watched Messi at his age take Argentina to the World Cup and win the World Cup.
Yeah,
He's thinking, okay, this is my last chance to even try that. And he's now done himself out of 2 games of the World Cup.
It's the one separating factor between the two of them now. I think that's what's driving him on. Thinking he does fancy real puncher's chance of Portugal, and he'll occupy the last squad position and not be able to have an effect, and then severely hinder them then in the vital third game of the group where they could top it or finish
That
second.
would be the most ironic thing ever, is if he's out of the 2 games and they need
that's the written prophecy there now, prophesized by this group.
Yeah, we'll make predictions.
I do not mince my words, and when I want to direct attention to something, I do mean it. And I had my very real concerns about Chris Kavanagh and Michael Oliver being the key officiators on Sunday. Now, I will firmly admit that when you're outrun by Manchester City, I think that's not how the game should go. And having the better of the possession, it's not really how I think a Liverpool game should go against City. It's not how I've seen us get home in the past. But I certainly would have liked to see a reality where Liverpool got to 1-1 at a very good time of the game, where they established a firm grip hold after conceding. So I would like to come out and say this tremendous amount of support that the goal being wrongfully, not awarded, that's been at least a relief to see that people have a sensible head on when actually viewing the thing. And I really was alarmed by the fact Ref Watch didn't even get to the point of it. I was really alarmed that Howard Webb and his little slot with Michael Owen really didn't get to the point of it. But the Times have reported today that the I think it's the match incidents panel, they have established that it is it's a case of the goal should have been awarded, and we're in the incredible position of, once again, not last season but a season before that, perfectly legitimate goal, wrongfully flagged offside, and with every assistance of video and several individuals employed to look at it, we still get to the unfortunate reality where they have their version of the story, and they decide they're going with that in the terms of objectivity. And I really think we've descended too far down this rabbit hole of objectivity. So, quite simply, the terminology proves the goal should have stood. And here we are once again. Liverpool have a bad form line despite having quite a good week, where they beat Aston Villa at home, fixed a bit of a long lingering league run, and then they beat Real Madrid in the Champions League. So on the grander scheme of things, I will take that one for what it's worth. Absolutely worthless. So expanding on that, do you guys, as unbiased onlookers, see anything to bring disrepute into the game once again?
Do you want to go first, Shane?
Well, I'm going to argue to the two sides of my mouth here, purely based on the two teams that's involved in it, and particularly the manager of one of them. It's been very clear this past 4 or 5 years that, like, as a United fan, Daniel, you would have faced it as well, that United got every decision was going. Granted, there were some shockers in the past, but there wasn't VAR to eradicate them. There wasn't probably 6 or 7 social media platforms to highlight it after every game. Pep has Michael Oliver to thank for probably, in Klopp's time, 2 titles. Some, like, beyond shocking. Like the Mendes one for United at Tottenham was mentioned, and it is a shocker. The linesman's about 80 yards from that decision. That decision, and in particular at the weekend, the penalty's not it's a penalty in the day's game. If you slow it down enough, it's not a penalty. It's Michael Oliver looking after his buddy and his team, that as the men that paid him to go out and ref a game. It's corruption in the highest order, but look, it keeps Pep's juggernaut rolling. Aside of that, and as I've said to yourself, Barry, I'm not going to say I'm privy to the black and white rules of it, but regardless of he's in this eye line of the goalkeeper, if he doesn't duck out of the way, then it hits him, he's offside. So if you remove yourself from that there, how is he not interfering with play? And obviously that isn't part of the rules because nobody else has mentioned it, but it's insane to think that he's not offside purely based on him getting out of the way. Because I think there was a goal, was it last year or 2 years ago in a United game, there was a man down injured or something. And I don't know, he lifted his legs or something, the ball went through and the goal was disallowed because it literally would have hit him if he'd left his legs where they were. So, black and white way of me looking at it, it's 1,000,000% offside because he ducks out of the way. As I said to you, if it hit him and it completely diverted to the other corner, then it's evidently offside. So it has to stand as well that if he ducks out of the way, he is interfering with play. But I know that's not part of it. But look, again, it's because who's in the VAR room. If that's not Michael Oliver, I think that goal stands. If Michael Oliver's not in the VAR room, it's not a penalty. And I don't like saying that because it backs Liverpool, but it's Michael Oliver that dictated that game, and he's dictating Pep's success, and that might sound a bit rabbit hole-like, but there's been 4 or 5 massive decisions purely from Michael Oliver towards City in the last, particularly in Klopp's time. Definitely 2 titles should have went to Liverpool, purely based on Michael Oliver. It's mad that one referee has had such a hold over decisions while VAR is in play. Fair enough, if there's no VAR, you're like, fuck it, they got it wrong. But Jesus, when there's so many angles and minutes can be taken on a decision, they shouldn't get them wrong. Not them anymore. Handball's subjective. Did it hit? Is it close or whatever? There's not enough contact for that for a penalty. And was it Doku? It's not. You shouldn't have to slow it down to that extent to try and find contact. Madness. But look, that's who's involved in it. It's who's involved in the decision, particularly the VAR room. I think, to be honest, it left the referee in a very tricky position because I'm assuming, as Oliver, is he the top dog now, isn't he? He's what's considered the main referee in the league. So he's pulled rank on Kavanagh there, and I suppose he's going, Jesus, I better go with him. So it's harsh on him too.
So look, he had the biggest game before that. Sure, he had Liverpool United. So obviously he's the chief He's the chief match official, and I'll remind you, he failed to send off Mateo Kovacic in a pivotal City v Arsenal draw at the Emirates, an absolute certain second yellow. And he's also the man that sent off Arne Slot for a handshake at Goodison last season. So I do not advise that Oliver steps foot onto the pitch or into Stockley Park for a Liverpool game, whether it is impactful to his huge bias towards Man City or not. He just clearly is another one. He might be feeling the David Coote betrayal. Also, he might be sore from that one as well. That's apparently Chris Kavanagh's best mate, if I'm to believe the information. So you have two guys there really in cahoots that have no goodwill towards Liverpool whatsoever, and will do them in. I think corruption's a large word to throw at it. I think you can certainly join the dots, and I think without really trying to throw a huge accusation at anybody, it does reek of flat out cheating when you chalk off a goal and you award a penalty that's not a clear and obvious, wasn't given on pitch, had actually no need to interfere. So overall, my fears were warranted, and damn near killed somebody with my trolley flipping over. But we live to fight another day, and we made it to an international break, and it's from here on that I'm making the case. The real contenders will start pressing on from here. So when you have your Sunderlands, as impressive as they has been, will they be still sticking around in 4 or 5 weeks' time? And similarly with Brentford and Bournemouth and others up in hovering around the mix that should really centralise Arsenal, City, Chelsea, United, and Liverpool. I was even going to go as far as throwing Tottenham into that pot maybe 4 weeks ago. But my God, I don't like how things have turned south really quickly there. And no, they're an implosion waiting to happen. So, fellas, on the broader scale, how does this shake out now between resumption of the league and, let's say, Boxing Day?
Something I'm actually looking at, it's not even going to be between now and Boxing Day that's going to shape it. Don't forget we have AFCON this year, or over December, January. Like, how many teams are going to lose some of their best players? Like, I don't think.
What are you talking about?
What are
you talking about? You're talking personally about losing Mbemo.
Yeah, but like, I've just pulled up a list here to see what teams
and Amad Diallo.
Well, let's see now. Yeah, losing Mbemo, Mazraoui, and
Mazraoui. Yeah, that's hefty.
It's, hang on a second. Sunderland are probably one of the worst ones who's going to get hit. They apparently have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Absolutely.
5, 6, 7, 8,
Absolutely.
9. Like
Um,
9 players from your
we're
team.
we're going to lose Mo, and
That's all we're losing.
I do hypothesize you might see him back to Liverpool for that month and a bit whenever he's away. So that'll be a curious situation.
Wolves will be hit bad as well. That's not going to help them survive.
Kudus will be heading from Tottenham.
Like Arsenal are the only club that don't have a player that's going to the AFCON.
Yeah, just thinking through the squad there.
Just throw it out there, no?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about like Sunderland.
No,
that's going to be a big factor too.
That's the other side of Christmas now. So that's a real. So you'd be saying a team like Sunderland there, for example, yeah, you'd want to be putting a lot of points on the board to not have a real terrible month in
exactly
January and start of February to fall back into the pack again.
Because like they're going to have to very much overachieve if they still want to be in around the top 4. In January.
Well, it's something I do see changing. So Shane, yourself, who's going to push on from resumption?
Yeah, I think an awful lot relies on your manager on sticking with. Again, I'm not going to attempt a surname on Hugo, staying through the middle, and continue with Gakpo on the left, and leaving the scarecrow out on the right if he has to stay there. But just on a side note, you can fact check this. I don't know how many. Is it every 2 years the AFCON is probably COVID? Has Salah been there through COVID at Liverpool? He has, hasn't he? Oh, he was. I think Yusuf only dropped 3 points when Salah's been away in all the years of AFCON, so I wouldn't be too worried about missing him. But as I say, that largely, if Slot has a bit of cop on, I think you can look. Jesus, the last time I was on here, I said the league was wrapped up. You could have just got the champagne out. How wrong was that? But I genuinely don't think Arsenal won the league. I think that chat about clowns managing. They won't deal with pressure at all. Like they're still. I'm getting a wee bit peeved off, and look, my thoughts on Arteta. Getting a bit sick listening to Arsenal being outstanding. A man said to me the last day, and I seen somebody. It was Rio Ferdinand even said that. Why is a team winning on set pieces and long throws looked at as a negative thing? But as we fellas, we're all a similar age. Stoke were laughed at. Tony Pulis was laughed at. He probably spent about the value of Seamus Coleman buying in players. He didn't spend $1 billion. He doesn't. It's pathetic for a man to spend $1 billion and to be lauded as this fucking messiah of football to complete it. They haven't been outstanding. They're like Sunderland rattled them to hell. And at the end of the day, Sunderland are just a hard working. They've a couple of Jesus. It's funny. I don't know how much Xhaka went for, and over 90 minutes, he absolutely controlled that whole midfield. Like Declan Rice, you hear this world class. I mean, mother of God. But no, I think it's City. Look, Arsenal won't be far away from it, but they definitely won't win it. Sadly, well, it's easy, as I've said it for years. It's easier to listen to. There's no City fans about, so City's the easy one in my opinion, for United ones to deal with. And I think City will. They'll dip again. Look, if Pep's going in the summer, I think they'll give him one last hurrah. It's to be fair to him. He's worked on a huge thing so far, but No, as I say, if Slot is a bit of cop on and continues with Hugo through the middle, who looks, in my opinion, like playing into the season, very impressed with him.
Scored again last night.
Yes, and
Cameo for France.
Gakpo. I think Gakpo's playing. I couldn't believe he played Verts again on against City. I thought, has Verts something. And nothing against Verts per se as a player on that day, but to play him out there, Gakpo frightens the life out of right backs. Verts wouldn't frighten the life out of a corpse. It's for such a big game. I thought it was a wild stupid. Like Amern gets battered for, Jesus Christ, he gets battered for bleeding. And Slot goes and does that there in the biggest game of the season. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke. That's, one of the, no harm, but Verts has been one of the worst players in the league this year, and you put him out there where Gakpo's probably been one of the better attacking players in the league this year. It made no sense whatsoever. So, Slaughter's cop on, you won't be a million miles away, I don't think, because Isaac's bound to, he's bound to get fit and go at it, but then I think he's put Hugo out of the team, so I don't know. That's where I think he needs to have a wee bit of cop on. And stick with your three in midfield that worked last year. Take the hit that Verts isn't that great and just plough on. I don't know. But no Arsenal anyway. I hope not anyway. I'll take City. Take City in the chin. Even you do have to listen to Pep and so on, but
so with City now sort of starting to build up a head of steam, yeah, and that idea that Arsenal will start looking over their shoulder, I think Arsenal's chance will have dwindled massively if they had sort of maintained a bit of 100%ness for a considerable period of time. Arsenal would have really built up a good buffer and could have feasibly dipped in again in January themselves and strengthened and rode it out to the end of the season and just get over the line by a couple of points. It would have been how I seen them getting home, but it's just the deeper look into how the goals are coming for them. So first and everything, free kick goals, corners goals, headed goals. They're absolutely bottom of the league open play goals. So when you don't have it's better to be still having the lion's share of your goals coming from open play and the set pieces being a complementary factor. I think that's the nicer place to live in. And I think that's where City find themselves. Like, they are doing lion's share of get the ball to Haaland in any way, shape, or form, and he's scoring. And then it's some of these really flashy performances that then the likes of Cherky and
Doku,
Foden, Doku, for example. The supporting cast is starting to improve a bit, and that's the scary factor there. Like, you were in a position to write off City without a Rodrigo for having a large enough sample size. I think City are big and bad enough now in the overall squad that they don't actually 100% rely on Rodrigo. So that's the scary thing now. City can move on for the former Ballon d'Or winner, the former best men's player of the year. It's a scary factor. And what you're saying about Pep as well, genuine happy character again. I was wondering where the hell that's come from. And I probably assess he's got a nice sabbatical building. He's probably got a good itinerary built up for what he's doing whenever he packs it in with City. So seeing it sort of beating him down last season, just seeing an altogether happier character now. Very jovial on Sunday in his win. I mean, he's the double done on him last season. So serious helping hand, has to be said. But they're ominous, and they're looking like they're building ahead of steam. And the Haaland factor is ever present, difference maker, and the absolute prime example of number 9's working its way back into the game. So when you have a good one, those teams are sort of starting to work their way to the fore again. That would be sort of how I'd assess. And when it comes to like Liverpool's chance, and obviously you pointed, will Arne Slot figure it out? It's got to be the two of them. It's got to be the two of them up front together, and it's how you figure out what's going on behind them. That's the key juggling act. And if you can sort of keep a steady back four now, good basis. If you can sort of have the services of Alisson back within the next couple of fixtures, puts us in a right spot. If you start seeing now the best of McAllister now, that's a good thing. Personally, I think he might be your surprise departure in the summer. Very much am in line with the Gakpo sentiment. Like, he is your only real orthodox left-sided attacker. So his role in the team should be somewhere in the region of first name in the team sheet, because like, what else can you do in terms of rotation there? It's not going to be as good. So with those sort of key aspects, and the fact that they're sort of putting in more future planning, they're looking at Bastoni at Inter, and I think that's not the first time I've heard that name. And that's the sort of thing I could see in a sort of squad building exercise. If you get Bastoni in a sort of big money deal, and you get Gahey for free, that's a good squad building exercise where you've done an overhaul of your centre back pairing for a cut price in the summer. And they're definitely looking at Mo's replacement, and it could be sooner rather than later. Could be Mo not seeing out this contract, and if the goals don't start picking up now, he isn't going to elevate himself any higher in the Premier League scoring ranks anyway. And I'm afraid Roger Hunt is just a far off goal that he's not going to get to. So Antoine Semenyo is the one that's proposed there. So a lot of things anyway to right themselves to get back into a appropriate defense of the title. Nothing's done yet, because even though that's how quickly things really turned. Exceptional start, absolutely dreadful October, and we sit 8 points behind. So I think nothing's done at 8 points. So, if anything's shown, this league is full of potential banana skins.
Like, hang on, where do you see yourself realistically finishing though? Are you seeing
Realistically?
Yeah.
Realistically, third.
Okay. So you're putting yourself behind Arsenal and City.
Not necessarily in that order, but those two teams, yeah.
Okay.
I see when you mention an overhaul, how many centre halves are you replacing at your starting 11 with them two coming in?
Well, you see,
Is
I
it the two?
think. Well, I think you have to act on Konate if he doesn't sign a deal.
Aye, but how many centre halves?
And you're losing Joe Gomez as well. So there has to be multiple centre halves signed.
Aye, like God knows how that young fella comes back from the ACL. He's young enough, I suppose. He should be all right. So Gomez is going.
Exactly.
Konate's definitely. Konate's going. Van Dijk's there. Do you think will Van Dijk go next year? Are you going to rely on what is he next year? Or do you,
Well, I see. I think he at least gets to the end of this contract. So
how long is this contract?
that's
1 year.
It's 2 years.
2 years. Jesus. Aye. You could need 4.
Yeah, you see,
He's 34 years old.
It's shown a weakness. It's shown a weakness recently, anyway, where not being able to rotate has hurt us. So other teams certainly carrying a ton of centre halves, and we seem hell bent on only ever having 3. So it's something I would like to address. Two very good ones, and then ideally another prospect like Leone.
I think for a club Liverpool size, you need more backup than that. I'm just even thinking of United over the last couple of seasons when we've had centre-back crises where we've had to go to a third or a fourth choice centre-back. Or what's happened, we had Luke Shaw playing at centre-back many, many times. You definitely need more than this one extra that you're talking about. Especially if you're having that many going. You can't be a club the size of Liverpool and compete in as many fronts and only have one backup centre-back.
Fair assessment, Daniel. Fair assessment.
Dare I say it?
I think it's
Go on ahead.
no. Go you.
Although he has quite a substantial bit of money in the bank, winning a league in his first year, dare I say it, that another bald Dutchman has set a club back, well, somewhere between 2 and 10 years. I think slot signings this year are like Hugo. Look, everyone knows what Isaac can do in the league, but outside of that, Christ of Almighty, I don't know how it hasn't been highlighted more. Some of the scrap he's bought, that's insane. And like a comment.
What has he bought? What has he bought?
Well, he bought what was supposed to be a right back to replace Trent, who's a worse defender than Trent, which isn't easy done. Kerkez looks like some boy. Remember Keane said about Trent was that he looks like a fella's never played defence. He had to play one day. Well, Kerkez looks exactly that. At left, he's awful. Sweet Jesus, he's awful.
He was absolutely brilliant for Hungary yesterday.
That's a completely different thing. Completely different.
So all the lads are going away and having a great time with the national team. Florian Wirtz was fantastic for the Germans. Dominic Szoboszlai was terrific for the Hungarians as well. So Szoboszlai and Kerke is having a great time. And Hugo Ekitike pops off the bench and scores for the French. So like everyone's having a nice time away with the international teams. So when they come back and they're shoved into this system that's not suiting them and not suiting
good Lord.
Not suiting to the best of their abilities, like you're telling Kirkes to do something, you're telling him to do something that's against his instincts. So you're not seeing him to his best. And sure, look, thankfully Bradley's come back to his best recently, so we're not having to rely on Frimpong, who is struggling to get fit himself. So as regards the two fullbacks, jury's out, and certainly no convictions made. So that's what I say. I say if you can get these individuals that are having a ball with their national team, if you can translate some of that form into the club, I think that's a feasible task. I think he's capable of achieving that. So it's always my outlook, Daniel. Anyway, to certainly not to be jumping the gun. So
no, I'd be the same myself. I've always been one to back players at United, even when they've been struggling. I think it's just, from an outside point of view, you're always going to look at a team, and it's always been the thing. You're supposed to buy when you're at your strongest, and there would be questions over: are the players that were bought the right players at that time? Like who? I have the list here of who he signed. Did he sign Chiesa as well? Or was that a club signing?
He's in Chiesa.
Yeah, so he go with this. He was his first signing. For me, the jury's still out on Mamardashvili. I think he's been a little bit suspect at times for you this season because he's not had that leadership that Allison has. I don't think he's gelled with your defence. Although, do bear in mind, your defence hasn't been a stable defence. Giovanni Leone, has he played for you yet? Or is he out on loan or something?
So Giovanni Leone played against Southampton, was generally quite eye-catching, very good, and then got a nasty toss off the pitch onto the hard stuff, and unfortunately done his ACL. One appearance out for the season.
He would have been probably a signing for the future anyway.
It was certainly not rushing in, Daniel, and certainly he would have been. It would have been a performance to build upon. And could have certainly forced himself in if he was if he was impressive enough.
Jeremy Frimpong. Obviously talked about as the replacement for Trent. Definitely not a like for like. As a Celtic fan and as somebody who watches the Bundesliga, Jeremy Frimpong has been a very, very good player for quite a number of years. But
yes, as right wing back.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it in previous shows about that side of him and Salah.
Look, him and Grimaldo on the other side, that was the creation. That was the creative factor. Obviously, Phil Wirtz and Phil Wirtz obviously in the central role, but the Grimaldo and Frimpong were like the key creation factors for that Leverkusen team. So, do I see Liverpool moving to 3-5-2? Jeez. Would certainly see the two fullbacks probably in preferred roles, I would think.
Well, look, that would probably
keep going there, Daniel. You're a nice wee run of things there.
Right. So we have then after that, then we have Kerekes, which we've just talked about. Yeah.
Setting the piece in Kerekes,
yeah. He's not showing the value that he was worth buying him from Bournemouth. He hasn't stepped up just yet, and he has had a few questionable performances. What he's supposed to be he's supposed to be the replacement for Robertson. Again, and not like for like, we have Hugo Atike. Probably, I would say the best signing that Slot has made. But we also know that signing probably wouldn't have happened if certain other things hadn't happened this year. That definitely was not the first choice centre forward. Isak always was. You've got Florian Wirtz, who, on the back of quite a number of good seasons for Leverkusen, to be that controlling midfield player, and hasn't looked like that at all. He's not the player that's come from Germany. To be fair, it's not the first player to come from the Bundesliga and be like that. Now, not saying he won't eventually get there, but again, I'm talking about a team that has won the Premier League trying to build on that, and yet we have players that are not Premier League ready and not up to scratch. And like, these signings are probably the reason that you won't retain your Premier League title. They are not Premier League winning players, and that's the issue. And trying to be to fit all of these in with the current team is an even bigger struggle for Slot. Like, you're talking about potentially doing a 3-5-2. What does that do to the current team?
Sure. Is it any different to the problems that any other manager faces? You sign players and you try to integrate them. I mean,
yeah, but like I say, trying to do that when you've won the league to build on that is the issue. Doing this when you're trying to get up there is another thing. You're trying everything you can to get back up there. This is not the time for experimental signings.
Well, the happy instance with the manager change was he had a squad ready that was already gelled and was ready to go and win the league. Unfortunately, as we discussed last week, a few of them had their race already run at the club, so they were gone anyway. So, as I say, with any team that gets new players, there is the trick of adapting to a new player and doing the best by them, but not sacrificing the identity of the team. So you're hoping that you've signed somebody that's the identity of the team. Now, Flo Wirtz runs a lot, so that, for me, is attribute number one for a Liverpool signing. So Hugo Ekitike, where may on the outside look like it's act now or miss out, I do think with his profile and how it was trending the same as Isaac, pretty close to Isaac, I think he was definitely signed as a real plausible plan B if the Isaac thing didn't come to fruition. Like I think for a long time in the summer, it looked like Newcastle were going to stand fast and we're going to ultimately wait it out with Isaac. So the clock finally ran down close to zero enough where Newcastle had to act. So they eventually gave up on keeping Isaac. So we end up getting the two of them. So now it's the happy headache of having two excellent number 9s and one that's hugely contributing so far this season. That's looking glaringly obvious, like one of the signings of the season, and another one that's struggling to get himself on the pitch. But when he does so, he will be a fair old chance at being in the top 2 best in the league. So I think we find ourselves on the verge of cracking it. I mean, fantastic game plan against Real Madrid. Unfortunately, you cannot just simply replicate that against City. City did their due diligence and thought there'll be a bit of Vinicius and Bradley's legs. We'll just stick Doku on him and there'll be a bit of joy. And we can cheat a wee bit and not have to double Mo because he's not getting the service that he normally gets anyway. Nico O'Reilly will do. So then a couple of wee tidbits, like I think Liverpool will settle down with a straightforward run. We're on this trajectory now till the next international break, which is not until the spring. So games coming thick and fast, and the big 2 competitions will take serious focus from now on. Nottingham Forest, PSV. That's our main objectives now for the short term.
Apologies, I cut out there. My phone died, so she's nearly dead, and
the show goes on. The show does go on.
So I didn't really catch your answer back to what I was saying. I'll call out a couple of cop-outs there. And who did Germany play in their two international? I know that Luxembourg tonight, didn't they? As far as I know.
Tonight?
Aye, was it Luxembourg tonight? I don't know who else they played.
They did have Luxembourg tonight, yeah.
Who was their other game?
Let us see here, actually. They are in Group A.
But just when Daniel's checking that, you said that Bradley, that City targeted Bradley. To be fair to Bradley,
no. They didn't target Bradley. No,
but
he made a conscious choice of picking Doku, who would do a certain thing against Bradley.
Well, to be honest, he did get roasted 3 or 4 times, but he was your best player in the day. So
the idea of Doku is we're not going to have Bradley and Salah. You're not going to have Bradley come over the top of O'Reilly, having to mind Salah. So good management by Pep Guardiola.
Daniel, did you get the other Germany game?
No, because I think the first game they had was tonight.
Aye. So, Barry, maybe you're maybe it's the last international break that Vert was savage on. I'm not sure, but I said before Vert came in, and look, maybe both of you, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I would put my hat on it that 99% of people who watch English football don't watch the Bundesliga. Our friend, another group, Declan, claimed that Wirtz was the most sought-after player in Europe. Done a bit of Googling there to see who else bid for him. And
who was the most sought-after player in Europe?
Well, I suppose when you look at it from a
was it
was
Gyökeres?
Gyökeres was one. Sesko was one.
Hugo was another. Them three. But
were Bayern Munich not heavily linked with Florian Wirtz as well?
Well, that's my next point, was that there's an age-old thing that Bayern never let a good player go that they have on their books, or they never let a good German leave the country. So, look, his upper body strength is akin to a child being born at Letterkenny Hospital at the minute. That's how scouts don't see that when ordinary Joe Soaps can see it. He's very tidy on the ball, but the game's a lot quicker and more physical in England.
Why would you be interested in building a career around Max Dowman, if that's the case?
Come again?
Why would you be interested in building a career out of Max Dowman if a slight body is no good for the modern game?
And who's building a career around that?
Well, he's a 15-year-old getting Premier League senior appearances.
Was he starting many games?
No, but
no. And look, at 15,
he's taken up a match day position in the squad at 15 years old.
And as a 15-year-old, 1,000,000% as a fella that's knocking about in the reserves of the under 16s, he is a get out on being weak upper body. But you look at Dowman, the couple of appearances I've seen him, and you look at Wirtz, and I'll always use an example. Wirtz looks like a fella's at a charity game, and Dowman looks like a footballer. They're worlds apart in ability on what I've seen of both of them.
Do you know what is mad though? Shane? If he had two assists and 3 tap-ins, this probably wouldn't be a conversation because we probably would have stats to throw at him.
Yes.
But because he has just one flashy game in Frankfurt and then quite a decent one at home to Real Madrid without really producing numbers, it's the glaring obvious 0-0 in the league that sort of brings him under scrutiny. So I think there's reasonable case that it's an unfortunate start he's had, where it's that lack of knowledge about him and lack of relationship with some of the players. I mean, gosh, there's a glaring opportunity against United and Mo doesn't take it. And gosh, again, there's another glaring opportunity against City and Mo doesn't take it. So I think with anyone to have Flo Wirtz's blood on their hands, it's unfortunately Mohamed Salah.
Well, I'll ask you this, and hand on heart, if we didn't have the platforms, particularly YouTube, how many minutes do you think you've watched of Florian Wirtz before he's come to the Premier League? When he was deemed by a Liverpool fan to be the most sought-after man, and I would definitely say the man that said that. I would say he knows a fair bit about the geography of Germany, but he knows very little about the Bundesliga. How many minutes of Wirtz have you watched outside of when Leverkusen go on in the Champions League? Would we say accumulatively 100 minutes?
Straight offhand, I would say one full game against Bayern Munich.
Aye. And it's like that's
90 odd minutes, Shane.
And to me, 99% of people who watch English football, Liverpool fans included, obviously, are in the same boat, and to give 126 million, and this is the thing I'm on about earlier on about I'm getting sick listening to people saying that Arsenal's outstanding. Carragher was on the last day, but we've seen, like, I've even heard Neville saying it. He's clearly a very good player, and you're like, what is clear about it? Like, Neville doesn't watch Bundesliga. Carragher goes to Dortmund to drink. Clowns are coming out with stuff that, in the hope that they're going. It's like looking at the lotto ticket going, geez, Hal won the night, and it doesn't go, well, fuck it, it didn't. It's they're basing, like, he's on about a back heel against Chelsea. I mean, like, Jesus Christ almighty. It really is. My Johnny's the best in the class. You see what he can do. Everybody's son's the best. It's pathetic. Look, I'll call Sesko out for what it is. Sesko looks fucking brutal. And I'm not going down the line of, oh, he'll come good, or he's adapting. And, like, a thing you said earlier there about how good Coleman was last night. Coleman can literally go home to Kellybegs for the summer and fish and go and pocket Mbappe, pocket Vinicius. There's bullshit about adapting and rusty and all this shite. That's character. That's whether you're up for it or not. Vert just come into the league and he's had chances to shine and he hasn't. He's too weak. As he was thrown about like a rag doll the last day, but by not exactly Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira either. He's been absolutely brutal. It's not called out anywhere near enough. I don't understand why he's getting such a bye ball on it. Particularly, it's not his fault. It's never the player's fault what price is. I never look at a player. He'll do it for a bit of slagging, but it's not his fault. There was 120 million spent on him. But at the same time, if you have 3 or 4 yards space, show a wee bit about yourself. It's the pundits saying that it's very clear that he's very good, and it's like, what are you watching? Like, it's clear as day Sesko hasn't a touch cane on him from what I see so far, and only for YouTube I wouldn't know who Sesko was. I'll call it out straight. 99% of Liverpool fans hadn't a ball's notion who Verts was. They might, oh Jesus, seen some young fella or some wee fella playing for Leverkusen against Madrid in the Champions League. Yeah, he looked decent. But the YouTube and Tuesday nights on ITV's riddled with stuff like that, but you hadn't a clue who he was. Spade is spade, that's exactly what it is. And he looks that every bit of that player that nobody knew who he was, and he looks pish. Simple. And he'll get a couple of assists and he'll get a couple of fancy turns and so on, and they'll come out in their droves then and say, see, 126 million, you land the first day, you put on a show. Simple as that. And you keep putting on a show. It's not his fault, but it's obvious the scouts or whoever. See, Leverkusen pulled down your trousers. And that's... How much did you pay for Frimpong? Would you have given close to 200 between the two of them?
30.
So 150. They're telling you that bald Dutch men can set clubs back. I don't see him bulking out enough to do enough in the Premier League.
Listen, if Ten Hag could get one over the line in the league, he might have built up a bit of good favour, but I certainly have a good enough favour with the manager where I think surely he is starting to figure it out in one sense where he's knowing where to go right. So Bert's starting back-to-back games on the left wing. That's a no-no. So I'm sure it's a piece coming together now. That's seemingly where he played again tonight for the Germans. So, but I'd imagine that forward line's pretty fluid. So whether he's staying out there, that's another matter. So you've had your say on him. So back to yourselves now. What on earth was the atrocity against Tottenham?
Two poor sides.
It was a better match than the Europa League final. I'll give them that anyway.
16th and 17th in the league last year, so they played out every bit of that.
I
But
do.
But you're doing the hard job. You're doing the hard job. Is you're getting the lead, and then to like almost chuck it so late. Like it's undoing what was a very good sequence of fixtures for United.
Yeah. Look, that game we started it well. It is that thing of never capitalizing on being 1-0 up, never getting the second goal to get us that that bit of breathing room. And it came back to haunt us. And to be fair, in seasons gone by, that game would have finished 2-1 to Spurs. Easily would have. But of course, the good old Richarlison curse of him taking off his shirt saves us. Every time he does, they end up losing or drawing. So fair play to him. That's probably the one why we did come back. But the goals that we gave away as well, I'll give credit to Jesus, what's his name again? Spurs manager.
Frank.
He made the changes. I mean, the crowd absolutely booed him out of the place when he took off Xavi Simons. But that changed that game. Absolutely changed that game.
Yeah.
He made some very, very good decisions. I mean, United substitutions might not have been the best. I mean, Sesko did not do himself any favors in that game. I mean, I was only watching it there. I think it came up and was probably uploaded because of that. Remind me of the day when Rooney got injured, when United had no subs left. Rooney went off, seen there was no subs left, came back on, finished the game injured. Sesko did not. I mean, it's going back to that thing of a player coming from the Bundesliga who's not up to the level of the Premier League just yet. We talked about Bayern, about how Bayern don't let good players leave the Bundesliga. As far as I knew, Sesko was done and done going to Bayern for years. Didn't happen. He's coming to us, and like I've talked about it outside of this, my concerns about him coming. But like, to him be running through on goal, not having a clue what's around him, to not be aware of when to take a shot, not a good sign. I mean, you give that chance to any other striker, that's a goal. It's small differences like that is probably the difference between us winning and losing games at the moment. Look, like I say, the manager changing the game. Really, we probably got slightly unlucky with the goals, but look, that is football. You win some, you lose some. We got lucky that we actually got a draw on that.
You know, it's funny. It's funny you say that. If United stopped at Cunha and Mbemo as the forward acquisitions in the summer, you should be no further behind, and you'd be much higher in the plus column as well, and in a position to strike if like a Julian became available. So yeah, you have your hand now, and you play with that. So that's why United doesn't really faze me as like as a thing. You know, I'll certainly see good gap between ourselves and yourselves established fairly shortly. So yeah, certainly alarming. Like, don't let the month's award-winning, accolades cloud your judgment. Don't let the ego get inflated or anything. Temporary success is no guarantee of long-term success. So, a floundering Tottenham team, it was not a time to nearly chuck it But Mathis Delict rescue act brings you back, and vital point puts you back above Liverpool again. Shane, your overall, I would say, I would like to hear how you felt about the Sunderland win, the Liverpool win, the Brighton win, and then the subsequent draws then to Nottingham and Spurs.
Well, the Sunderland one, I know it was at home, but the Sunderland one is as impressive as any of them, based on how they're going. The Liverpool one, aye, look, it's
smash and grab.
Did that glitch? What? Somebody else? What? Smash and grab. Right, granted, Gappo hit the post a couple of times, which means it's off target. Smash and grab. I don't. Have you a reel of world class saves from Lemons? Have you? I don't think you do. Yeah. Have you the ball at the house from Salah's attempt from 3 yards out?
I have the 2 goals by United, and one where Fernandez slaps the post and should have made it 2-0. I have nothing else from United, in all honesty.
But that's clearly enough. I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but
it was quite clearly a smash and grab. So
I'm genuinely, I'm trying to remember.
The Sunderland one you can mark up absolutely, because where they're sitting in the league, thoroughly well executed game plan at Anfield, and then an absolutely chaotic game against Brighton. So
sorry, I'm genuinely at a loss with the smash and grab one. The Brighton one,
it's nothing. It's nothing more than what it was, really. I think United did exactly what they need to do just to swoop in and get 3 points. So
who scored the second goal that day? United. Maguire. Ah, yes. So if I was to break it down from an unbiased point of view, you're close to a centre half to go.
It wasn't a well executed, lovely piece of football that was the winning goal. It was a good hoik back into the box by Fernandez, and a lone Maguire is left just nodding into the goal.
Well, sure. Look at we're going back to the early noughties with prehistoric football. That's thrown into the mixer, isn't it? We're lauding Arteta for long throw-ins and towels and so on the sideline now. So you may give Amern and Fernandez their dues for
9.5 minutes spent on throw-ins.
To be fair, Shane, we were going back to the good old days. It was just like John O'Shea getting and Rio Ferdinand,
Yes.
Just throw the centre backs in there.
Right. But there was 9.5 minutes spent in that game on throw-ins.
Brentford.
Oh, Brentford. I find it. The 2 games that you were completely out of it. You've got 3 minutes at City and 4 minutes at Brentford. You're averaging 9 in games you need a goal. As we mentioned,
there was a lot of time added on to the first half against Brentford. You'll recall. 7 minutes added on.
What score was it? The half time in Brentford? Well, they won up.
It was 2-0.
You just needed a goal. Do you see where I'm going?
The ball was out of play that often that they added on 7 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, look, it's look, time wasting is part of the game. I don't know why.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying, Shane. This is the new form of time wasting. Where like the referee's pointing at the watch now for the goalkeeper, and a corner kick is awarded after 10 seconds. Like that's a thing now. So
yes,
that you can't take time now with the goalkeeper lying on the ball on the ground, and that sort of thing, and bouncing it a couple of times. So that's gone. And obviously, kicking the ball away at a free kick, that's obviously stamped out now. But fucking degreasing the ball and all the way back to the Hordens and all the way forward again, like, good Lord. It's a methodical over the top exercise for what is a simple throw in.
Just on the TikTok I sent you earlier, just when we are on about referees and so on and so forth, I've seen Money's the player in the past getting a booking for sarcastically applauding a ref when a decision's made. Why does your big clown get away with it?
You see, he gets away with it because that is the clearest indicator of corruption. If I'm a good old-fashioned honest referee, I'll book you. But I can't book you because I'm so in the wrong. And
that clip, you can see elbows, studs, and the calves of players kicking out at Havertz 3 times.
And a good swathe of time's been accumulated as well over the length of those clips as well. So somebody had to dig well back. There's the Breeze Mertens ones in there as well. That was the Champions League winning effort in 2018, the group stage against Napoli 2018.
There's 4 of them from last season.
There's an awful lot of so we can't get involved in the dark arts, is what that person's saying. So that's there's multiple red card situations that didn't get. Well, that's funny. I'll have my really serious bringing game into disrepute gripes, but Van Dijk skirting the rules regarding violent conduct is a major talking point.
Well,
I'll take that one with me anyway until next week anyway, and think about it anyway for sure.
When we have him within year's length now, his performance this year after I didn't Google now to see what his Daniel. Can you do a quick check what his weekly wage is in this new contract at the ripe old age of 30?
He's the second highest earner.
Well, your other clown.
So Mo 400 and Virgil's on 350.
So Van Dijk is worth up to 400,000 a week.
So this is coming from a United fan who has seen Sancho getting 360, Rashford getting stupid amounts, Bill Jones getting paid to lie sleeping. However, none of the aforementioned men were being told is the world's best at this position we've ever seen. His performances this year, Bournemouth at fault for at least 1 goal. United is at fault for a goal. Chelsea, the Chelsea one is my big one. We've all played a wee bit of football. Barry, you've a young fella there now starting a wee bit interested in football. If you were out playing in the garden with him and he reversed 32 yards and he stood to the side and done some kind of a pose that you would do if you were Bonnie Blue and let a man take a shot, would you eat the balls off him and say, "What the fuck are you at?" Now, bear in mind, he's not on 400.
Moment there.
Bearing in mind, he's not on 400,000 a week.
We have lost him. If we have lost him in the middle of that point there.
How far did he get?
So, reversing 30 yards, let's say. Take it up from there.
Yes. So, any player, never mind children or anything. So, a player at getting $1,000 a week reverses 32 yards and then cocks his ass out for a pose, allows a man to stick it in the top corner, who has been deemed to be the world's best centre half we've ever seen. You find that acceptable?
No, I don't.
You find what he done.
I don't find conceding more than double the amount of goals at this time. At the same time this season as last season, I don't find that acceptable. Not when really in front of him it's the exact same circumstances. Maybe behind him it's slightly different. Maybe it's not a Queven Kelleher standing in behind him. But
as well, you know,
it's clearly his.
That's fucking shocking.
No, it's clearly his standard has dipped below what he's capable of. So
Daniel, could you get up the image of the goal of Vinicius in the Champions League final? It's a similar pose. What you're chatting 4 or 5 years ago. Look, my point stands of Van Dijk, and look, 99% of the world disagrees with me. But his awareness of what goes on behind him is absolutely atrocious. It's been that since I've watched him, since he came from, where did he come, Scotland, till he was the ripe old age of 26. He just looks like somebody who thinks, like, see that stat that often that he was 3 years without getting dribbled past. He doesn't engage the play. So, I mean, if I stood back and always sent a man out to be the first man to tackle, of course I'm never going to be dribbled past. He's getting severely caught out now because, and look, I watched the show last week, and the only man you called out last week was Kenati. That tit on Anfield Agenda calls out Kenati every week. There's such a fear of saying a thing against Van Dijk. It's insane.
Kenati's at fault for the first, and Van Dijk's at fault for the second.
And what game? And the City game.
The last one.
His effort to block the shot last week. I'm
fair in my criticism. So look, Konate got the brunt of it for Brentford. So
for Brentford,
I was very disappointed that he lost the foot race with Smaka.
And the stupid. I know. Look, again, I think it's a shocking penalty. But in the day's game, it is a penalty. Sadly, it is. But it's so lazy against Brentford. He just pushes him. That's like, to be. I've watched United players not giving two fucks and getting paid a fortune. I think he really is giving the two fingers to the whole audience. That's. I don't see why you aren't saying, you prick, you're getting paid 400 grand. It's him and Salah. I think the two of them are a disgrace. Almost $1 billion they're getting, not $1 billion. What the fuck am I saying? Almost $1 million between them, and that's what they're saving up. One fella just, I'll tell you, see Van Dijk, he reverses so much. If he feels as if an opponent should get a red card, he can cover 30 to 80 yards quicker than a Ferrari, I would say, but he can reverse equally as quick. I've never seen a man who can cover ground like it when he feels as if.
Here we go. Do you have the Valverde cross there now, do you?
I'll just wait
with the behind you.
I mean, what is
that?
Like, what's he doing there? That's the world's best centre-half we've ever seen. If that was Vidic, he'd be down, as Mickey would be down stopping it. I think people who compare both of them as, look, it's real foundation math stuff, in my opinion. They're not in the same hemispheres at all. It's Van Dijk, look, 2 Player of the Years, 4 leagues, the Champions League, a couple of FA Cups. Van Dijk has won probably there used to be the Iron Brew Cup in Scotland, a couple of SPLs. He might have won the championship. There's levels to the game too. Look, he's lovely on the ball when the ball lands to him. He's more of a sweeper than a centre half because he allowed Matip to go and do his work. He allowed Konate to go out. And poor old Konate, he is a bit of an old. He's like an old sheepdog that's no good. You know, you'd give him a couple of weeks and he's useless and you just shoot him. He's just a big clown, and he gets some, he misses some. But he has the intelligence to stand back. I've said it for years. He's one of the most intelligent defenders I've ever seen. Sweeps up everything, looks lovely, and he vibes on a bus when you finally win a title. It's the loving for Van Dijk is insane for how little that he does. Like, his highlight reel will be what? In fairness, he scored a fair amount of goals. I'll give him that. But his highlight reel, there'll be no big challenges in his highlight reel. So it's I think it's brilliant. And see anybody saying that you have to understand he's old. Well, his age didn't, when he signed that contract, his date of birth didn't change. The hierarchy at Liverpool knew what age he was becoming. So age has got fuck all to do with it. That's another cop out. You have to understand he's older. No, you have to understand that he's doing
I
a bit
think
now and he's getting caught out.
I think you just paid that man one of the highest compliments possible, and I think we'll park that right there.
What was the compliment?
I think I allowed you 5 minutes on Virgil van Dijk, and I think we're definitely straight into the 20-minute territory. I think it's a massive compliment to any centre half to have no leaving your feet in your highlights.
Oh, Jesus, are we going back to that old notion? Jesus Christ. Oh. Well, I suppose the one time he did leave his feet, he nearly broke Merton's ankle and got away with it.
That'll be in the class of Alessandro Nesta. That would be the same mentality, all just graceful interceptions and lovely clearances. Just
against, I don't know who played that pass from Madrid, but
Shane, I'm with you that I hold him to an exceptional standard as well, and you want the lauded and best in the world doing things at an unbelievable standard all the time. And trust me, I want that as well. I want the man that's exceptionally well compensated and well rewarded for success garnered for the team. I want to see absolute league winning stuff from him all the time, and him lifting the team's overall performance. So it's a bit stop-starty this season, and he just needs to get a bit more consistent. So yeah, I accept the criticism, and I think it's duly warranted. The player himself should let his performances speak for himself. I know he's granted the platform quite often because he is the club captain, and he will be sought out by the media outlets to speak. When given the platform, he usually uses it. So I would far rather my captains that their actions speak for them, and maybe that would more duly put the words of the critics back in their mouths. Fellas, I have been well compensated for your time. 1 hour and 38 minutes, equally easily record-breaking show for length, but sure, I knew what I was getting into if I got Shane after such a long break. Daniel, very much looking forward to tomorrow night. How are you feeling?
Aye, good. Assuming another storm doesn't stop it.
I just need that wind to piss off tonight. Shane, you're keeping busy as always.
Yes. Aye. He's off out tomorrow night.
I supposedly somewhere.
Fingers crossed.
Good stuff.
Fingers crossed.
Sure, if the power does go out, it's even better reason to go out.
Yeah, this is it. You seek out the power.
Yes.
You seek out the power and the still working pints. So,
surely they don't need power to pull pints.
We'll just, with a bit of OCD involved as well, we'll just let it tick past the 1 hour 40 before we conclude this one. Thank you very much, fellas, for joining me. We'll really endeavour to keep this streak going. So that's three Fridays in a row. Not saying I would like to establish a day or anything, but certainly incredible effort.
Do the one a week anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're tuning into this later, hope you enjoy. There's quite a bit to absorb this week. Good luck.
Good luck, Dave.